Hey guys, welcome back to the So You Shoot Weddings podcast. I'm here with my co-host Mackenzie Frank. And this week we're going to switch it up a little bit and we're going to talk about what we do and maybe some tips and do's or don'ts of like what to do, I guess, or how we do a wedding day from start to finish. Even starting like the night before, kind of our routine. I think that's a nice word for it. What's our routine? Because we do so many weddings and like I don't know. I think routine is the best. I don't like when I'm off my routine and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta like hurry up and charge stuff. My wedding is in a couple hours. I gotta leave. No, I don't do that. So we're gonna start with how about we do this? You want to go through your wedding day from start to finish, and I'll do mine, or how do you want to do it?
Feel free to interject whenever. But yeah, so obviously wedding day work does not start on the wedding day. It starts beforehand. Big thing, make sure all your stuff is charged. For me, that's all my camera bodies, and that's bringing extra camera body batteries, my flashes. I use Tenergy and Eneloop rechargeable batteries. You can buy them on Amazon. Make sure all that's charged too. And again, I bring like 4 or 6 packs. I have like little convenient 4-pack plastic holders. Make sure that's all in there. Check your lenses. Clean your lenses.
Yeah, that's a big one. Clean them.
Because so many times, with my cameras like always swinging back and forth, they'll hit my leg. I'll get like sweat on them. I've had dogs like jump on them. Dirt. Clean your lenses because you can't really always edit that stuff out. It's not fun.
Yeah. And this, I don't want to sound like a dig to photography, but like I've done a whole wedding where, there's a big smudge on my wide angle lens. And it's so much harder to take out when it's a video and you're moving. It's not just a couple foot. Like, I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I'm bad-mouthing photo, but it's easier to edit it out of a photo than it is a video. Yeah. And I'm just like, no. If I would have taken 10 seconds earlier in the day,
just a quick little,
just blow it with the rocket blower and good. But I just didn't for some reason. Now I'm like super anal about it, and I'll make sure every lens, front and back, even the sensor. I'll clean it. I'll look into it in the light. And I can kind of tell if it's dirty.
So just a quick check because you're going to kick yourself later when you're like, damn it, I wish I just, saw that smudge earlier because it would have saved me hours of touching up pictures. But yeah, I make sure my straps are with me, everything. I bring 2 bags. So the one bag is like my main bag with all my lenses for the most part, flash bodies in there, and then extra SD cards, and make sure your cards are clean and ready to go. Just bring extra of everything because things can go wrong. And then my second bag has like, I'll bring my utensils for dinner because sometimes like caterers don't always have them for you. Extra flashes.
Oh, wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's been very helpful. Go to Amazon and
it probably saves you 15 minutes of waiting because they're busy with all the guests. They don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to be like,
could we get a
my
fork? And they're 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
Good call. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So, and they're really cheap too. So fork, knife, like it even comes with chopsticks if you need them.
Nice.
But, and I even bought one for my second shooter. So again, we can just like go off in our little corner. Don't have to bother anyone. Yeah. So that's a big one. Lens cloths, all that good stuff. And then for family formals that I do now, especially like in churches or inside, I bring my Profoto B1X and then a stand and then an umbrella. So that way photos are looking nice and clean. I can illuminate a huge group of people. But yeah, just make sure all that's together, especially the night before when you know that you have it packed and ready to go and you can just wake up, get yourself ready and get out the door. That's so nice. And scrambling around like, oh my God, I didn't charge these batteries. Like, what am I going to do? Because my first wedding I ever shot, Kyle, Ashley, sorry if you're watching this, but it's when I had like one camera, my camera malfunctioned. There was a recall on it. My battery died, and then I ran out of space on my SD card.
Yikes.
No one knew. So that was cool. And like I got everything. I didn't miss anything. But it was terrifying. Luckily I had my charger with me so I could charge it while there was downtime. But just don't do that to yourself. Learn from your mistakes. Get your stuff ready, and you'll thank yourself later because if a flash fails, just grab another one. You have it all ready to go, charged.
I think I've said it before. The best offense is a good defense. So it's like be prepared. Be ready to deflect whatever badly happens.
It's a wedding day.
Go for it.
Anything's gonna happen.
And if anything can happen, I forget what is that. Is that? Oh man, is it? It's not. Is Isaac or what's it called?
You and your quotes.
It's like anything bad that can happen will happen. So just prepare for the worst. And I know it sounds bad because it's a wedding day, but like prepare for, oh crap, I dropped my lens and it broke.
Yeah.
Well, you better have another lens.
Yeah, please bring more than one lens to a wedding if you can, just in case.
Yeah, just anything like that. So, all right, where are we at on you? So
yeah, that's my night beforehand.
Okay, I think we should bounce it back and forth and go all the way through.
I agree.
So the night before, I'm charging all my camera batteries, my gimbal, charging all my audio recorders, fresh batteries and all those, my lav mics as well. And when I said charging battery recorders, charging audio recorders, I'm charging my Insta mics. Those just charge via USB. And I make sure everything is at 100% power. Even the lav mics that just take a AAA battery can last like forever. And when I turn them on the night before a wedding, and let's say that they're at like half power, I don't even take the chance. That's
really smart.
The risk far outweighs the reward for doing that. So like, what if I got 5 minutes left of a ceremony and the battery dies? Well, all I had to do the night before was change a freaking AAA battery. So like, I change those. I make sure they're all 100%. And I do that. I get everything. I'll get all my tripods, light stands. That's another thing. I got to charge my big V-mount batteries for my lights. Charge all those. Put them in my giant camera bags. Lay them in my family room. And get them ready for the next day. And if I have 2 weddings in a row, sometimes even after that first wedding, I'll leave my tripod bag in the car.
Yeah. Well, especially like you're tired that next day already too, a little bit. So.
And then... So I charge those, get them ready for the next day. But I also get my shoulder bag, and I usually the handheld camera that I usually use for prep at the beginning of a wedding is usually my it's the wide shot actually that we're doing right now. It's my cage, my wooden handle with a start stop button so I can record with the wooden handle, and I usually use my 55 millimeter. I think that's a nice like walk around lens for like bridal prep, and I already put that in my shoulder bag. I have it ready. That way I don't have to get to a wedding, open my big bag, and then assemble what I'm going to use. It takes me 10 minutes. I just do it the night before. It saves me time, and then I go for it. And because you mentioned you bring like utensils and stuff.
Yeah.
I bring deodorant.
That's smart.
You not bring deodorant?
No, but I should. Yeah. I think I'm afraid it's going to melt.
I don't use the, what do you call it?
The stick.
Yeah, I like the dry. I mean, you can probably buy.
It's like a spray or
no, it's
like,
not a spray. It's
like a powder.
No, not a powder.
How many kinds
What's it
are
called?
there? I don't know.
I forget. Now we're talking about deodorant here. It's just the.
I mean, it's
not the gel, but it's like it's just like the dry rub stuff. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a deodorant connoisseur, but like deodorant, because the last thing you want is, let's say the wedding is perfect, and then you go to hug the bride at the end of the night.
Oh
and you
my god!
Horrible.
Oh my god! I'll like.
Yeah, and then the last thing they remember is that
how
guy smelled bad.
You were.
So like, don't be afraid to go in the bathroom at some point during the reception and put on a little bit of that
freshen
deo,
up a little bit.
A little bit of that deo for the bo.
Deo for the bo.
You know
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Go with that. I always bring my water bottle. That's a game changer.
I
dehydrate pretty easily, I feel like, and that's the worst feeling when you get home and like you wake up at 1 a.m. and you have like cramps and you're just like, oh, I'm so dehydrated. I try to hydrate during the day with my water bottle. And what else do I bring? You also bring a wooden hanger, do you not?
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Boom.
Yeah. So, especially for details and stuff, since we kind of have a good amount of time for that in the morning, I bring at least a wooden hanger, if not a couple more, just because some people forget and they only have a plastic hanger, and that kills me seeing a beautiful dress with a plastic hanger. Like, no. So yeah, wooden hanger. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. It's gonna look good no matter what. And then I'll bring some like lay flat mats for details, and then some ribbon, ring boxes, stuff like that, just in case like you either don't have enough details or we need a little color or something to spice up your little belongings with.
You get those at IKEA, the hangers, or no?
Yeah. So I also
a pack of 5 or something.
Also ordered some off of Etsy. Like I have a pearl one. I don't use that a lot. And then like a really cool like vintagey one. That one's a little harder depending on your dress because sometimes the straps slip off of it. And then I had another like cool gold metal one, but I used it for a dress recently and I twisted it, because sometimes you have to twist it to hang on something.
Okay, yeah.
It broke. So that one's RIP.
Ouch.
But yeah, I try to bring things in case you forget or anything to make the photo video look better.
Yeah.
And it just shows like it's thoughtful. It shows you care.
Couples or like bridesmaids and parents would like, oh, that's really like,
yeah,
you know what you're doing basically for that. So another one of those things, it's kind of related to the hanger. I bring a pair of scissors. It's in my camera.
People always
my
need scissors.
bag.
Yeah, I have a sewing kit
Oh my
because
God. Every
dresses, hair, like
I would say probably 75% of weddings I do, I overhear a bridesmaid say, "Does anyone have scissors?"
Yeah. You can be like, "Shink."
Yeah, and then I remember thinking that years ago and thinking I should bring scissors. People would really, you know, that'll benefit them, and people would be like, "Oh wow, like you're really on top of this."
Yeah, you've done this.
But
before,
then I thought, no,
you?
it's not gonna happen again. And then like the next one, it happened again. So I was like, I'm totally bringing scissors. Scissors, my phone charger. I bring an extra phone charger in my bag. I have like a universal charger, so it can do like Samsung phones too. I have an iPhone, but like it's just nice because you never know when you're maybe at a reception, and it's happened to me before where like not only do I might need a charger, my second shooter if I have one, or even sometimes I'll have a bridesmaid. It's just like, do you have a charger?
I need a charge, man.
I forgot mine. It's not a big deal. I've had a photographer's husband who was like a guest at the wedding once use mine. Like, why not? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Just plug it in and go for it. So that's just a couple things that you can bring.
Gum's a good one to bring. Gum.
Oh, gum.
Like
yep, I bring
one
gum
time
too.
at a wedding, we were getting ready for ceremony, and obviously in a church, like try not to smell like booze. So we were on the party bus, and I was like, "Does anyone need gum?" And like my whole pack got destroyed because everyone needed a piece. But they're like, "Thanks so much."
That's
like
how it
now
always
we're
is with
not.
gum.
Yeah, you know, if you have one, you got to share it, which is fine. But yeah,
I bring gum straight up
it's
in the
cheap,
morning
you
because
know.
not for everyone else, but I bring it for myself because I'm just like, I brush my teeth, but I also don't want to just happen to have bad breath.
Especially like if you start getting dehydrated and all that.
Yeah,
spit
and your
stuff.
mouth gets dry,
Yeah.
but you also just ate freaking barbecue at the reception.
Yeah,
you're just kind of like
get stuff out of your teeth
you're just
too.
Kind of like, maybe I should just put a stick of gum in.
There's
like,
nothing more embarrassing than like having something in your teeth and trying to like talk to people and like be serious or even like friendly and stuff, and you're you know.
So yeah, freaking hangers, chargers, gum,
just
scissors,
bring everything. Be Mary
deodorant.
Poppins, and just
literally, if you might need it on like a road trip, bring it to a wedding.
That's good. Yeah.
So those things. So where we at in the wedding day? We just arrived.
Yeah,
what's
just
the
arrived.
first thing you do when you arrive at a venue?
Let's see. So, I mean, venue or like getting ready. Like it depends.
Well, let's say that the couple is getting ready at the hotel. What's the first thing you do?
So first thing, I always hit up my girls first. I grab their details. I send a nice little like how to or what to expect when I get there. So I tell them to put their details aside. I list what those could potentially be. And I'll shoot that while they're getting ready. That way I'm not in their face, not bothering them. And then I'll shoot their dress. And then usually once I'm done with that, I get, the lip final touch up on there. Girls hanging out, getting ready, the robe pictures. And then that's when she gets dressed. And then I'll visit the guys usually with my second shooter. I'll just be like, hey, this is so-and-so. They're going to photograph you, like do your thing. But yeah, I usually spend more time with the girls.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, I usually spend more time with the girls as well. So what I'll do is I'll show up and, let's say the bride is sitting in the makeup chair. Since I have a giant obnoxious camera bag, I don't want to haul it over there and walk it over all heavy and I slam it down. Hey, I'm Chris, Or I mean, obviously they probably know me before that, but hey, it's me and I'm here. I always walk in, set my stuff down, and I walk over by myself without any equipment. And I introduce myself. Obviously they already know me at that point, but say, hey, I'm
just
here.
Just say, hey, yeah.
Then I usually follow it up with do you need anything? Sometimes they're like, can you go get me a water bottle or something?
No big
And
deal.
obviously I'm not, like a bridesmaid. They can do that for them. But it's it's nice to ask, hey, do you need anything really quick? I just got here. Also remind them hey, don't forget to eat something after you're done. Before you get in your dress, just give them a quick, hey, let me know if you need something. And also, I'm here if you need, anything. Be sure to eat something.
That's a good point of not coming up with your stuff. I do that too with my sessions, especially if I know the couple's nervous. I won't have my straps on and cameras on yet.
You don't want to overwhelm them.
Yeah, I'll lay my backpack down, I'll talk to them a little bit, and I'll slowly take my stuff out instead of all right, let's go take pictures, because you don't want to freak them out. So just slowly take out your stuff, and then you can, get on with it. Same thing with wedding day.
You want to show up with a very positive attitude and positive vibe. You definitely don't want to show up and just be like, oh, freaking, there was a wreck on the way here.
Yeah, don't complain to them.
Don't do anything. Don't say anything negative.
Don't say you're tired. I've had people do that before, where I'm like,
well, it seems
shut up.
right. It seems like common. Well, it just seems like, oh, I'm so tired. It's very honest, but also they don't want to know that
you're tired and shooting their wedding.
Oh, you're dead tired and you're here all day.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
As
don't
far as
do
they
that.
know, you got the perfect amount of sleep. This is the best day
100%.
ever. Yeah, nothing but positive vibes. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You definitely want to.
Your problems
Hey,
are
how
not
are
their
you?
problems
Like,
on their wedding day.
Yeah, right.
Like, even if you had the worst morning, no, you're going to say you had a great morning. You're ready to go. You're so excited.
Also, don't be late. That's another thing, which I feel like I shouldn't even have to say. But, like,
plan for getting there like 15 minutes at least before you're supposed to, because a lot of things happen. Traffic, getting lost, having trouble parking. Like with all this COVID stuff lately, like they make you walk around buildings instead of just going 15 feet out the door. Like, just plan for things because something might happen, and you don't want them to be like, Mackenzie said she was going to be here at 11 o'clock. I don't see her. Has anyone heard from her?
Ugh, the worst. It's the worst way to start off on a note. Like, start
when
off
they're freaking out where you are.
Like
yeah.
I can, it sucks to say, but it happens a lot where I'm there and I hear the bride say, "Where's the photographer? She was supposed to be here."
Oh, God.
That happens a lot, I feel like. Not with you, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
But like just, I just heard it before and I'm just like, ugh. And then the photographer will show up with a freaking Starbucks cup in their hand.
Oh,
like,
I've had people do that too.
Yeah, I'm like, don't.
At
Punctuality.
Least, yeah.
Again, I could talk about punctuality all day, but I'm just like,
chug that ish before you get inside.
Yeah, it's all. That's just someone who's oblivious, who doesn't understand. But you can't. Don't be late, which obviously again seems like common sense. But if for any reason you are late, because life happens, let's say that you are late. Show up. You don't want to make a bunch of excuses, but you also want, you want to tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I was late. I'm so sorry. Boom. Is there anything you need? Like, just do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to show up. Like this. Like, you don't want to give them a life story about why you were late.
They
it's
don't
fine.
need to hear it. They just want you to get
over.
work.
Yeah. The less attention you can draw to being late, the better.
A big thing I do if I happen to be late is usually before the wedding, I'll just have them write down their bridesmaid's number, like the maid of honor or something, so I can text them and be like, "Look, there was a huge accident. I'm going to be like 4 minutes late." And so that way they know if the bride's freaking out, they can just be like, "Oh, Mackenzie texted me. She's almost here. It's Gucci," and then they don't have to worry about it anymore.
My wife makes fun of me because I'll leave an hour early for a wedding that's 20 minutes away.
You do get there like
I do.
Heck early.
It's probably annoying, honestly, for like other vendors.
It's good
but
though,
like,
man.
I do that because I think to myself, okay, let's say I'm a half hour away and I leave an hour early. Well, I'll be there probably a half hour before I'm supposed to be. Fine. But if I'm stuck in traffic for 15 minutes, well, now I'm still 15 minutes early.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I'm on the way there and I get super hungry. I gotta stop at McDonald's.
See,
still
food
have time.
is an essential
It happens
thing.
to me all the time, more than I like to admit.
You're like, oh God, yeah.
But like, I would rather sit in a parking lot and wait for 15 minutes and then go be on time.
Yeah.
Versus be 15 minutes late.
Just
and now the bride's mad at me all day, maybe, or maybe you just don't want to do that. So I'm all about, to me, 10 minutes early is like on time. That's how I like to do it.
That's a good way to
But like,
think about it.
So I'm a little early, and it's also nice because I get to show up and just kind of be like, hey, like, where's everything at?
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice to not be thrown into the mix. So that's what I do. Wow, this is gonna be a longer.
This is gonna be a long. I mean, God, it's a lot that goes into a wedding day.
So what's next? Bridal prep's done. Let's fast forward a little bit though. Let's say we're getting ready for the ceremony. What do you do?
Yeah. Do you want me to start?
Go for it.
All right. So getting ready for the ceremony, it's a lot easier for me as a photographer because I don't have to deal with sound or anything, or like set up 3 cameras in all that direction. So I put on my normal lenses. I usually check in with the bride. I try to tell the bridal party when I can, hey, when you're coming down the aisle and you see my camera up, smile for me, because a lot of people, like, they'll either smile way far at the end of the aisle and my flash can't reach them. So by the time they get to me, they're like, all right, I smiled, I did my thing. And then they look so mad. I'm like, no. So yeah, I just say if it's up, smile like a few times. I try to take at least 3 photos because people blink all the time and blah, blah, blah. And
that's funny because like I don't even think about that. Doesn't affect me. Like I just
because it's
I get it. Yeah.
That's and funny. I try not to be annoying and overwhelming with the flash, but that's why we have to take so many with flashes, because people are either looking down, looking one way, not smiling, blinking, doing a derpy face or whatever. So I try to do like 1, 2, 3 and then get out of the way. So yeah, I'll tell bridal party to smile when they can, and honestly, that's like all the big prep for me. Oh, a big thing too. Okay, we'll say this. Officiants, if they're not a priest or something, I will say, hey, I need 2 things from you. Number 1, and it's a biggie, tell people to put their phones away, put them on silent, like before the wedding even starts.
Yeah.
A lot of officiants don't understand that, unfortunately, and then they they say it after everyone has come down the aisle, which it's too late by then.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, is people, every time they're going down the aisle, they're over with their iPads, and it's too late. So I say before it even starts, tell them to put the phones down. There's 2 photographers, videographers, like, we got this. And then the other thing is, when they tell the couple to kiss, if they could just step to the side, doesn't matter, as long as they're out of the way, because that way I don't have like an officiant smiling between the couple's necks, or like, you know, head is sticking out somewhere,
body underneath their heads.
Yeah, it just looks weird. Sometimes they remember, sometimes they don't, but at least I like said it, and I'll say like, write it down in your little iPad or whatever, little note, just step to the side. Those are the 2 things that like really help make it look good.
And if you don't tell the officiant that as a photographer, they're not going to move. They're not going to do it.
They won't think about it, because like,
they've done it even if they've done it a bunch of times, they probably still won't do it.
I think
you have to remind them.
At that point, they're like, cool, I'm done. I'm like, I did a great job, and they're just happy, and they see the kiss, and they're like, they'll look happy and smiling. But I just think it's so much nicer when it's either just the couple in the shot, or if the officiant is moved to the side, smiling at them.
Well, and in their defense, they're not thinking about what the photographer's doing,
like, which is totally
they shouldn't be. They're so worried about, you know, the couple, and probably just maybe it's their first time officiating. They're not thinking about that. So maybe they'll forget, but if you do tell them and kind of say like, hey, it's really important, they'll remember it. They'll remember that you said like, hey, it's really important.
Nice,
it'll be great for the photo, please. What I do before the ceremony.
Yeah, that.
So I have at least 3 cameras going during the ceremony, sometimes 4, but usually 3. But the first thing I do is I see if anyone is doing any, if anyone's running any audio for the ceremony. So if maybe sometimes the DJ is there doing audio, sometimes it's a church and they run the audio, I'll tap into their board and I'll get audio that way as a backup. But I'll also mic the priest if there's one, you know, the officiant, whoever's marrying them. Mic them. I'll mic the groom. Usually I put 2 mics on the groom and 1 on the officiant, and sometimes I'll mic the bride, but it's rare.
Yeah.
It's really rare, but sometimes I'll do it, and especially if it's a soft-spoken bride, I'll do it. But I'll mic them. I set up everything, get it ready. Sometimes I'll even have like a random guest kind of walk up to the altar so I can get my exposure and white balance correct to where they're going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually this is like a good half hour, 20 minutes before the wedding, so like they're not going to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I'll have a photographer do that, but I try to at least have someone walk up there so I can make sure it looks good. And I'll do that. And what else will I do? Yeah, definitely try to tell the officiant, like, hey, I really need you to wear this microphone. But by that point, I probably have already told the bride months prior, hey, the officiant's going to wear my mic in addition to the one he's already wearing for the guests. Because mine has nothing to do with the guests. Mine's going to record it into his pocket in the recorder. But I'll do that. I have on occasion told the bridesmaids to walk slow down the aisle. Oh
my gosh. Some of them love to run, and you're like... It's so hard
when
you're
so nervous. So their natural reaction is to hurry up and do it.
Yeah, and just get it down the aisle.
And
I
hate when I'm getting a shot of this. You know, I'm like, oh, this looks good. It's it's the groomsman and a bridesmaid. And then as soon as they go by, 3 feet behind them is the next people,
and I kind of miss them.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how do you explain that to the bride? It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
But I tell them, I'm like, walk slow. If you go too slow, that's fine. It's just
We'd
more
prefer
time for
that,
us.
yeah, to get
There's really
what we
no
need
such
to
thing as too slow. I'm like, but if you go too fast, we might miss you entirely.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and again, I'm not like, I'm not like boom about it. I'm just kind of like, hey, remember guys, you're probably going to be a little like, what's the word? Like they're going to be a little anxious, a little nervous.
Antsy,
probably,
just want to get
they just want to get it over with. They're probably a little nervous. So I'm like, just walk slow, smile, and it's, we'll get the shot. So
I'll just interject real quick too. But like same thing with grandparents. Sometimes they move so slow at the end, and then you have like the parents who are a little quicker coming in after, and we can't shoot through people.
Yep.
So like you said, it's so hard to like go around them real quick, get the shot. It's too fast.
Ugh. So yeah, like for ceremony, I have a lot more stuff to do before the ceremony starts, but once that's done, it's pretty simple. But I want to go back real quick and talk about the cell phones you mentioned, and how, sometimes you'll tell the officiant, or sometimes there's a sign that says, no cell phones. I tell couples months prior, if they ever ask me like about cell phones and stuff, I always say, I'm like, you can make a sign, but people are just going to disregard it. I think, from my experience,
signs,
a sign doesn't mean anything to a wedding guest.
No,
they don't care. If the officiant tells you right before the processional starts to put your phones away, you're way more likely to put your phone away
than
if you read a sign in the parking lot
because they're talking to you in that moment, and you don't want to get in trouble. Like, it's that feeling like, okay, you know, I'll put it away. I get it. I get like wanting to document something. Just try to put it down.
Yeah, and I get it. It's like when you go to a concert and you get your phone out, and you record the video. It's like you're gonna watch that maybe once.
Yeah,
it sounds horrible. It doesn't even look good. It's just sort of, we just sort of live in that world where like, ooh, let's hurry up and get a shot of this on our phone. And I get that from like a guest perspective, but it's like you getting that one shot on your phone that you're never gonna watch shouldn't outweigh me getting the shot that I need, that I was paid thousands of dollars, that's gonna last forever. So you have to think of it that way. But I've told officiants before, I've kind of reminded them, just like, hey, make sure you tell people, you know, no flash, no, like, just basically put their phones away. And I was like, they can take pictures during the wedding itself, but not the processional. You know what I'm saying?
See, yeah, it's hard for me because I shot a wedding recently, and of course there was a big old iPad, like the 10-inch or whatever, and the guy thought he was being discreet, I guess, but he was shooting backwards, and it took out all my wide shots of people going down. And I had to tell him, I was like, can you move this back like 2 inches, because it's really affecting the way I shoot. And they had a videographer too. So, and if you have a videographer but still want like a family member to shoot it for some reason, maybe even tell us so we know like, hey, this dude's okay to shoot this. But it is A, so distracting, and B, it gets in the way of the shots, especially for me, because I like to shoot a big wide shot of everything happening and then close-ups. But for the wide shots, if everything's looking all pretty and then you have a big bright iPad shining back at you, no, and I can't edit that out.
Yeah,
so
it's just something that people didn't have to deal with 10 years ago, but now it's every
wedding.
Like,
especially when the bride comes down, those phones fly up like no other. It's
even
insane.
Though they've just been told to be put away.
Yeah,
people still are
it's
like,
their
I'm
instinct. Like, I need to get this shot.
Because
like, no,
people think, well, I'm not going to get yelled at during the middle of this, you know, which is true, but it's also, we're not doing it for selfish reasons. We're doing it because we don't want it to be in the shot.
Yeah, it's not for us. It's for our bride and groom and whoever.
Yeah. Trust me, I've seen look up on Pinterest. Just look up like cell phone wedding. You'll get those pictures of 100 cell phones in the air.
I have a whole section in my Lightroom where it's just shots that I've taken of people because it makes me feel better. It's like a subtle just way for me to like deal with that anger of all those phones going up.
There's just like nothing you can do about it sometimes, and it's just like, like that's just the way it goes. But it sucks that it's like that. But we try to do everything we can to avoid
get around it. Yeah.
So that's another thing. So what's next? After the ceremony, we're on our way to the reception.
So after ceremony is more of my thing with family formals.
You're right.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that's my least favorite part of the day. Mm-hmm. It is so hard to wrangle people. There's a lot of people involved. A lot of times it's loud. There's people in your way.
Over and over, just with different people.
Yeah,
right?
Different people. Like, they're trying to run away. And I tell people, like, during your rehearsal dinner, just tell your family to stay put. It's so, like, it just takes up so much time when we have to run out the door and find people that we've never met before and be like, all right, you said she was wearing like a teal sequin dress. Okay, like, Sharon, where you at?
We don't know who Aunt Barb is. Yeah. We don't know who that is. So, like, us as wedding, creatives, I've told so many brides, like, it has nothing to do with me because I'm a videographer. I'm like, but give your photographer a family shot list. Don't give them a shot list of the entire day. Give them a family shot list. Yeah, just family.
That's all I need.
That says the couple's name plus grandma blank and grandpa blank. Because most likely your second shooter will say, all right, next up we need grandpa blank and grandpa. That's going to make an hour-long wedding photo session be about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is
we just
want to
get you out of there. I mean, no one really loves doing those, like bride and groom included, especially because they've been up since freaking 6 a.m., probably did not sleep well the night before. They're tired. They don't want to smile for all these photos. And for me as a photographer, like with my stand and my umbrella, I have to move it back and forth, and there's always people in the aisle, and I hate to be like, hey, I need to move you out of the way, but like, I need to move you out of the way. I have this job to do. Churches are sometimes like, you have 30 minutes and you're out of here. Like, we want to go home. So
yeah, I don't envy photographers during that at
all.
I
hate that part.
And that's usually when I'll get some of the family stuff. I try to get the immediate family.
Right, yeah.
I usually don't get those giant shots because they never go in my films.
I mean, people are always like looking.
Yeah. Well, no one wants a video of 45 people smiling at a different direction.
Yeah, there's
so it's like more of a photo thing. So I usually use that time as a videographer to put stuff away and get it ready for the reception. Or if it's at a different location, which it usually is, I leave. Like, I'll leave a good 15, 20 minutes before because I have to set more stuff up. Yeah, I have to set more stuff up at the reception. But so on my way to the reception, show up at the reception.
Yeah.
The first thing I do, I have to go over. I have to make friends with the DJ.
Ooh,
so
yeah. I don't have to do that.
I have to, I introduce myself. I'm nice about it, and I usually ask about how to get into his board for his audio for like the toasts and stuff. And I bring all the cables for that, so I'm ready. And I would say 90% of DJs are just like, they know the routine. They're like, yep, cool. I just need this cable. We're good. And I'll do it. And then this is an important one too. I'll get my timeline out. I'll whip out the old timeline, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just like, hey, just want to compare to
Does
make sure.
Does yours look like this?
Compare to make sure we're on the same page. I'm not in a hurry, even though it seems like I am right now. I'm always like, they're supposed to enter, here at like 7:45, and it's like 7:15 right now. Is that what you have? They're always like, yep, sounds good. And I'm like, cool. So then I set my lights up. And let's say that the couple was supposed to do their first dance as soon as they enter. I set my lights up for the first dance already. They enter. The lights are already set up. We go right into it. So that's what I do right at the beginning of a reception. What do you do as a photog?
Yeah, sometimes I'll check in with the DJ just to be like, hey, this is my name.
Timeline's a huge thing.
They'll usually like just go over the timeline with me. And most of the time it does match up, which is awesome. I'll also sometimes give them my card. So when we do eat dinner, which is it in your contract that you eat, like you get to eat?
It is.
Okay.
Like, that's another thing. And again, it should be talked about way before the wedding day itself. In my contract, me personally, it says, I get to eat what the couple eats, I believe it says. And then it says if let's say like I don't get fed, I'm allowed to leave for up to an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not responsible for anything I miss. Now, do I want to leave for an hour and miss toast? No. It's in there as not, I don't want to say scared tactic, but it's in there to make sure they remember to feed our vendors, because that's a huge thing. We're super tired. We've most likely been working since 10, 11 or noon. And
haven't eaten probably
and
hours
it's like
before
7:30 or 8. We want to eat, but we also need to, not even the food. I like to just sit there and kind of decompress for a good half hour.
Let our feet just chill.
Because the night's mostly over, but we still have, the formals, toasts or dances or whatever. But I do that, and where was I? So what were we talking about?
What I was gonna say is I give my DJ my card so he can text me, and I think I talked this in a previous episode, but just so he can text me, be like, hey, we're gonna need you in 5 minutes. That way he doesn't have to get up. I don't have to keep checking back, because we really do enjoy our downtime, because we can kind of vent about the day, get off our feet, get a little water, get some food, and then back to the contract really quick. Like you said, you have to eat what the couple eats. That's me too. There's a difference between a vendor meal and a guest meal, and we in our contract, we eat what the guests eat. A vendor meal is sometimes a turkey sandwich and an apple and a cookie in a plastic thing.
It's what you would give an 11-year-old on a field trip.
And it just kind of, it's insulting. And there are a couple caterers who just give you that garbage. I hate to say it. And then you watch all the guests who just got there eating steak and chicken and mashed potatoes. And I don't know, I get a little envious. I love my food. It's one of the best parts of the day is eating. So yeah.
So let's say the night is pretty much done.
Yeah.
What are you packing up? Let's say you're getting ready to leave. Let's say you got 5 minutes left. What are you doing?
Let's say, okay, I always stay over a little bit. Sometimes when I feel like I'm wrapping up, I'll usually switch to one camera and then wait a little bit longer, and then I'll go up to my couple 9 times out of 10 and be like, hey, getting ready to peace out. Is there anything else you need? Yeah. Back before the COVID days, I would get a picture with my couple. Don't do that anymore. But yeah, I just make sure that what if there's a picture they wanted with their godparents or something and they're right over there. It's just nice to ask in case there is a final shot that they forgot about.
Yeah, no. So I have so much equipment, but I try to, when I get let's say I got a lot of great dancing footage and the bride and groom aren't really dancing. So I kind of have a little bit of, I guess you could say, downtime before I leave. I'll put some stuff away, so when I leave, I can just grab my bags and go. But it's definitely a good idea to tell the bride and groom, hey, I'm going to leave soon. Or even when you do leave, say bye to them. Don't just head out. Because you almost always get a hug, a thanks for coming, you did great, we can't wait to see everything. That's also a great time to kind of be like, this is what I do at least. I'll be like, hey, I'm heading out. Thanks for everything. I always say congratulations again because it's their freaking wedding day at the end of the day. And then I usually follow it up with like, by the way, I'll have your teaser to you in like 2 weeks, roughly. That's just a nice way for them to be like, oh yeah, I forgot about the teaser. Up, yeah, it's nice that they like. It's just great to end it on that note versus just leaving and not saying anything. Don't do that.
I don't think I've ever left without saying goodbye.
I'm sure I have, and I don't remember what the situation was.
Yeah, if I have, it's like they were having a blast. I didn't want to bother them. Yeah. Like I've probably said it earlier in the day, like, but.
Yeah. And then they always say thanks. I get a hug. Sometimes you get a tip.
Ooh, that's great when that happens.
Yeah, so it's like just say bye. They paid you a lot of money. At least you can do is say bye.
Yeah.
So say bye, and I pack everything up. I always say bye to the DJ and say thanks again because at the end of the day, I used his equipment to help me get my audio.
True, I didn't think about that.
Whether or not the DJ was like nice or a pain or not, I try to always be like, bye, thanks again.
Because you never know. You might work with them again, so just don't end it on a bad note.
The last thing you want is to show your emotions. Just
You can show them in the car on the way home while you're screaming about
that DJ, or maybe the audio sounded bad because the DJ's board wasn't that great. I don't know, but like don't. As far as everything was great. So, but no, stay positive, and always be nice because again, you never know who's watching. And then when you leave, what do you do when you leave? You go straight home. You gotta talk about what do you do?
Sometimes if I'm starving, I gotta get food. Other times,
even if I just ate,
I'll
like 2 hours
still
earlier,
be hungry.
I'm like, you know what?
I could eat
I'm
again.
getting that quarter pounder.
Yeah, or like sometimes I'll grab a beer with friends or my second shooter or the video, or like whoever, just because it's fun and I love talking about the wedding after the wedding. That's just like how I roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time I just go home. I back up my stuff straight away. I use Photo Mechanic for all the photographers out there. It makes the importing process so much faster. So
I've never heard of it. What is it?
Yeah. So I heard about it like years ago, but I was just like, again, don't want to learn anything new. But recently I had a couple people say like, you need this. So finally got it. And instead of like going through Lightroom, there's a little bit of a lag when you go through photos. With Photo Mechanic, it like brings in the photos and super fast. You can just go like next and then pick which ones you want. And then it takes only the ones that you want in your Lightroom to Lightroom.
Okay.
And then, the rest, it goes on your external hard drive.
Oh, wow.
But that makes it so much faster. Like before, it would take like up to 7 hours for me to import photos.
Yikes. So
and I don't have time for that. Get Photo Mechanic. It's not that expensive at all. It's worth it. It's saved me hours of time and frustration and all that. So that's a big one. And then I back it up to 2 places. And I usually keep the SD cards with the photos on it for a while. Again, with my camera, it saves to 2 SD cards. So at that point, I have it in four spots. Count them. And knowing that you have photos in 4 spots in case anything happens is
peace of mind.
Really, really great.
Price on it.
And then I freaking go to bed because I'm tired as hecko.
I used to get home that same night and have to like go look at the footage. I never do that anymore.
I can't do that. I mean,
it's always the next day. Usually, I'll
start teasers.
I'll dump the footage onto my hard drives, but I rarely look at it until the next day.
You kind of need a fresh mind at that point. You're so tired.
And it's nice to kind of wake up the next day and be like, oh yeah, those freaking prep shots were like, those are gonna look awesome. Yeah. It's nice to wake up to it and be like, it's like Christmas morning.
At least that part's done and you can just jump into it.
But that night when I go home, like I said, I have a wife and kids, so like I'm usually like McDonald's ? And like, she's always like, yep.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
buddy.
Okay. Get like McFlurries and fries or whatever, and get home. I, for whatever reason, even though I'm exhausted after a wedding, sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep. I feel like I'm still like kind of amped up from being at the wedding. I don't know why. I usually stay up later on nights I shoot weddings. Usually I almost always watch a movie while I dump the footage. It's just the way that I do it. Either do that or listen to like a podcast. I'm always doing that while I'm like, again, dumping the footage. And other than that, I don't bother charging anything until the following week when I have a wedding, or if I have a wedding the next day, I'm getting home, charging everything right away. And I usually will take those SD cards and just use different ones. Yeah. So, but no, that's a very important thing. Back up your stuff
over and over again.
So I will put mine on my external SSD and I'll put it onto an external hard drive, and sometimes 2 external hard drives. So it's on 3 hard drives at that point. and it's also still on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
But I shoot with such high capacity cards that like I can shoot a couple weddings on the same SD cards. So like the next day I don't have to worry about it. So
that's super nice.
You just don't want to be like, oh, I wrote over that footage. Storage is so cheap. You have no excuse not to back things up 2 or 3 different places. So yeah, that's pretty much our wedding day from start to finish. Wow, I feel like that was a long one.
That was a long one, but again, a lot goes into it. So
yeah, and we definitely went off on some tangents. We're gonna do that.
As we always do.
We're humans. It's hard to stay on topic, but like, if there's anything, I guess if you guys have any questions of like, you know, whether to do this or that on a wedding day or even the day before,
or if you even
have some tips or anything,
–
like that freaking thing that you said about the utensils, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that because I definitely know now that I can think about it. Sometimes if they're like, oh, you know, you have to go sit in that room and we'll bring you food, they rarely bring the silverware. They forget, and then I have to like awkwardly go find the caterer, and they're like,
and they're running other places,
yeah, it's just an extra 10 minutes to get utensils.
We don't like to inconvenience people, so the fact like it just makes it easy. Like I've had to rip chicken apart with my hands because I didn't bring stuff. So ever since then, I was like, I'll just buy it again, super cheap, Amazon.
Yeah, it's a great one. That's a really good one.
Thanks, Chris.
And again, I'm sure there'll be things in 6 months that I do that I don't do now.
Yeah, for sure.
And even 6 months ago, there are things that I do now that I did not do 6 months ago. Like I didn't have my shoulder. I guess it's not a shoulder rig, but like it's basically a camera strap for photography. I put it diagonally like a satchel, like Indiana Jones satchel, and I will have my camera rig on it. So when I have my gimbal and I put my gimbal down, my camera rig, instead of being on the ground somewhere, it's already around my neck.
On you. Okay.
So it just saves me time. It's just so convenient. And so like little things like that I do now that I did not do like a year ago. But anything that you can do to make the day easier for you, or the footage or photos better for the couple, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow, that was a long one.
That was a good one though.
Yeah. Hopefully, you know, like I said, you guys have any questions, you know, feedback, all that, greatly appreciated. Join the Facebook group if you haven't already. So You Shoot Weddings Facebook group. It's not just for Cincinnati people. It's for, I don't care where you're from. Like, if you're a photographer or videographer, join. It's nothing but like, you know, good things, education, all that. But I think this ends this one, and we will see you guys next week. Later.